So, back to what I was saying about the fandom menace. Yeah, I'm trying to park at work at the moment. But when it comes to them, it seems they love to create a certain narrative based around the idea of things being quote unquote too woke. Let me tell you what the general sentiment of woke means when used either in a negative light or particularly by those who aren't black. In some cases, they may be too, but woke is basically a glorified dog whistle also for anti-black sentiment. It basically is. It's a means of them seeing the changes in the country and I guess globally society at large intruding on their little spaces of entertainment where things are the way they remember them to be or what they once were. I believe that a lot of the plantation owners of the Confederacy tried to prompt up their slaves when they forced them to join the war on the gray shirt side by talking about how much it's affecting their way of life as well. Just saying. But it's funny how the idea is that identity is being forced upon us. You know, identity is infringing upon these spaces where I just want these people on this TV show or in this movie or even on this playing field to entertain me, you know, which is another way of saying get back to entertaining me like the trained monkey that you are. You know, that doesn't just apply to black people, that part, but just the in general of it. But so it's funny how there's this railing or fist shaking against identity politics, but yet the moment you either don't fit the narrative, you're either in a position they think you don't deserve, or God forbid you stand up for yourself, or any combination of the three, then suddenly out of nowhere, now we have no problem letting you know what you identify as and who you are. Nigger. And every other derogatory term that's thought of for any other race or ethnicity as well. But I'm just specifically addressing black people on this one. Now, it could be said also that, you know, I know others will say, well, Samuel L. Jackson, going back to Star Wars, never had this kind of issue, and, you know, James Earl Jones, literally the voice of Darth Vader, or even Billy D. Williams as Lando. But I'll tell you now, if at all any of them got a senior moment and decided to say something that works against the narrative of the dominant society or white supremacy, oh, believe me, their heads will very much be on at least the verbal and digital chopping block just as much as Moses Ingram would, who in the end really didn't do a thing, you know, but just allow himself to be hired for a part to play, you know. But they'd be under on the chopping block just as much as her if they, as we like to say, decided to speak out of pocket about any issue, you know. But the one thing I would quickly say, with the time I've got left, the one thing I would quickly say too is that, you know, I would say that when it comes to those who are objective, at least a little bit more objective about what they hate about the Star Wars or the current Kenobi show and narrative, much less where the message is imposing itself on good writing and the like, on different series and what have you, I would say to them that you've got a few choices. One, you could continue to choose not to watch, and not as a put up or shut up directly towards you, but if something is being produced that is either going a direction that you don't like or different things like that, you can always walk away. I know some walkaways are more painful than others, but you always could. Also, if you decide that in whatever vocation in life you're in, maybe you're in a career where you make a lot of money, maybe you could make or save up enough money or come together with other business people and put together a conglomerate and feel free to go and buy Lucasfilm off of Disney if you'd like. Or just say, screw it, and I'm gonna create my own content, based on the narratives and tropes that that I believe, or I don't find the direction of TV media or movie, or cinema media to be going the way I prefer. You could always do that. As a person originally from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, I had to make that same decision when it comes to a certain football franchise, where I either had to make the decision to rail against it, go all over social media to protest about it just for clicks, or I could just simply, move on, mourn the loss of what is no more and move on, because things change, rightly or wrongly, they do. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Disney doesn't have a certain level of disingenuousness, because I do agree that, no, every criticism doesn't need to be labeled as racist, but yet at the same time, when it comes to those who, in Moses Ingram's case, attacked her in her DMs, either they said she was nothing more than a glorified diversity hire, or they didn't. Either they called her outside her name, particularly with the magic word, or they didn't. No different than just some guy. Either you were talking specifically to those people, either you were a part of spelling the N-word for the N-word wall on his very rare live stream, or you weren't. There's no baiting when people talk about race baiting. There's no baiting when it comes to someone just simply bringing out who they are and what was in them to begin with. Do not, using a court analogy, do not prosecuting attorneys and defense attorneys do the same kind of things to, in the defense attorney's case, discredit a witness, or in the prosecutor's case, to draw out the insidious nature of a defendant. Is that not also a form of baiting? So, yeah, miss me with the whole race baiting thing as well. That's just simply people being mad for being exposed for what they are and who they really are to you. Which goes back to what I was saying still with Moses Ingram and some of the other black YouTube content creators and other media content creators, Instagram, Facebook, or what have you. When these moments happen, call them what they are. Anti-black racism, and say it with your whole chest. Despite others that may say, well, you're being racist, for calling out racism. Just do that. Because clearly they have no problem telling you who you are. So walk right up to them and tell them what they are. So, in the long run, that's all I'll say for the moment. I'll go ahead and get off my soapbox now. Soapbox Moments Inc. will be coming out in my originally imagined presentation soon enough. But I felt like I just needed to get that off my chest and say that because it needed to be said. I'll probably talk more about it in the coming weeks, including my very first official video, us as a people revoking the past. Like, subscribe, and join if you'd like, and I'll be talking to you later.